Hello everyone, this is Arcane Warlock and I'm back with another chapter of Under the Veil. Now, I know, but this might be a two-parter too. And you said you wouldn't go to like 80 episodes. Of course I won't. But, I'm not sure if this will be a two-parter. You know what? It'll be a one part. Let's go. Chapter 2, stuck in the middle with you. To be perfectly honest, Sirius was a little more than surprised. He spun around so fast he ended up tripping over his own feet and landing on his bum. From his new position on the void pseudo ground, he found himself staring eye to eye socket with the grinning face of a friendly looking skeleton. An apparently very short friendly looking skeleton. In a blue muggle hoodie and black shorts with a white stripe down the front of each leg, and pink slippers. Pink slippers? Sirius was perfectly aware that he was gaping at his new acquaintance like a particularly astonished fish, but there wasn't anything he could do about it. One of the skeleton's bony brows rose fractionally, and his smile grew a little wider. He questioned how a skull could be so expressive before realizing that the better question was how a skeleton could be alive to express anything in the first place. The white lights in the skeleton's eye sockets gave a distinctly sassy eye roll as the wizard took another minute in an attempt to collect himself. Gee man, didn't mean to rattle you so badly. Sand stuffed one hand in a pocket and pointed to Sirius's chest with the other, advised, "Don't forget to breathe." Sirius took a deep breath, letting it out slowly. Okay, calm down. I did just die, so what's weird about me being a little living skeleton? Does that mean you're dead? I'm Sand, as previously stated. Who knows, though, I may be death in some alternate universe. He chuckled to himself at some joke Sirius didn't understand. The pair stared at each other for a moment, both thinking indecipherable thoughts, before Sirius finally regained enough sense to recall, "You didn't answer my question. Where is this?" "Oh right, welcome, Sirius, to the void between timelines." He considered that answer. And gave the infinitely black, empty space a considering glance. Not a very cheery place, is it? Sans nodded. Yeah, usually it's pretty boring too, but now you showed up, so who knows? Don't get visitors often? Haven't seen anyone since I followed a murderous wraith and child to get in. Hopefully they can't come back. There was definitely a story there. But Sirius elected to ignore it for the moment. So I'm guessing you can't just die to end up here. So as far as I know. Then Sirius frowned. How did I get here? Hold on. I've just woken up a few minutes ago or so. After I made this. Recording. So Sorry. Now, let's go back to the reading. The skeleton plopped himself down, crossing his legs and propping his skull up on one hand. I dunno, you must have not just died. But I did, I was fighting. Sans tense, but Sirius paid him no mind. In the DOM. Domination. Bellatrix sounds like a dominatrix, but isn't that his cousin or something? I don't know Harry Potter lore. Got a lucky shot in and pow! I'm dead. When Sans spoke again, his still calm voice had taken on a dangerous quality that immediately pulled Sirius from his mood. The white-eyed lights were gone and a foreboding faint blue drifted around his left eye socket as he asked, Fighting? Who are you fighting, and why? Sirius tried not to shudder as a sudden cold swept down on him. Voldemort and his Death Eater goons. When Sans gave him a blank, decidedly not amused look, he clarified, A crazy power-hungry wizard who cheated death for a second chance at taking over the world and killing off all muggles and... Stop. This Voldy what's-it sounds like bad news. He blinked at Sans in astonishment, then collapsed in nearly crazed giggles. Merlin's beard, you're giving me an emotional whiplash, Sans. On that note, you can be really terrifying. Did you know that? Why, did you feel a chill in your bones? Most decidedly, you really got under my skin. They shared a laugh, and any remaining tension between them relaxed. So, what's this DOM place? Seems pretty important you can say that. Are you actually? It's probably a dominant point of interest. Sirius laughed again, shrugging in a helpless way. He was quickly realizing that puns were something of a specialty to the short skeleton. It stands for the Department of Mysteries. How mysterious. I'm not amused. Wizards have a peculiar naming sense, obviously. Anyway, we were fighting in the same room with the Veil. He drifted off, jaw dropping as he made the connection. I died as I fell through the Veil, that's why I'm here. As Sans' confused expression, Sirius tried to explain. The Veil of Death that connects the land of the living with the land of the dead. I must have ended up in this limbo place since I died as I fell through. Sans closed his eye sockets. Sirius wondered how that would even work before mentally writing off his magic skeleton logic and gave the theory some consideration before nodding slowly. That unveils quite a bit, but then that reminds me. What? What reminds you? The skeleton gave a distinct, what even is this gesture and simply asked, Wizards? We have much to discuss. It was a very informative, some amounts of time for Scions as Sirius filled him in on the basics of magical society and current events. Hold on. Okay, back. Concepts like He covered anything from wizarding law to Quidditch, jumping from subject to subject as his audience of one asked questions. Concepts like wands and incantations fascinated the short skeleton, so naturally Sirius had to spend ages explaining. A society of magical humans. Weird. And you're a living skeleton. Sirius deadpan. Last I checked. Yes. And that's normal where you come from? Normal enough. There's lots of types of monsters, but I never really saw any other skeletons in the underground except my bro. The underground. Ages ago, there was this war between humans and monsters. Yada yada yada. The humans won. They sealed us underground. Just like that? Yup. Huh. So you have a brother? Papyrus. Sure, I hope he's okay without me. And Frisk. Who's... Well, not that this isn't fun, but I'm bone tired from all this excitement. Gonna take a nap. Sirius was half tempted to wake the skeleton back up, but he had a sneaking suspicion that wouldn't be appreciated, especially since they barely knew each other. With a sigh, he decided he'd just have to get revenge for the rude cutoff at some later date. Maybe after a nap, and especially after getting to know Sans well enough that his prank wouldn't land him in deep trouble. Of course, getting to know Sans proved to be surprisingly difficult. It took careful observation and attention over the course of several more conversations for Sirius to uncover even a little bit about the past of his skeletal companion. Add to the fact that most of what was learned had more to do with people around Sans and Sans himself, and it became pretty clear that he's one cagey skeleton. Sirius complained as much, but Sans just grinned his hard-to-read grin and remarked that it's natural for a skeleton to be rib-cagey. Thus, Sirius amended his conclusion. Sans is extremely cagey and highly skilled at brushing off concern through puns and jokes. Really, the only thing Sans seemed to honestly enjoy talking about was his brother. And even then, he was prone to lapsing into unexplained silences or random topic changes. Sirius had learned, however, that the great Papyrus loved puzzles, was more than a little obsessed with spaghetti, and in training to be a guard. That was something else he had learned. Sans and his brother both worked as sentries. Yes, the lazy skeleton who seemed to spend most of the time sleeping actually had a job. Several, apparently. It took quite some finagling to get that info out of him. And quite a bit more to learn that sentries were supposed to keep watch for any humans that might show up. That subject had been particularly difficult to get him to talk about. But they had been sitting together chatting about Snowdon, the town where Sans lived, when the wizard broached the topic with all the conversational grace of a sledgehammer. Did you ever find any humans? Sirius blurted out, deciding that blunt and to the point was the best way to go. Yeah, one fell down every few decades or so. There was a weirdly long gap before. No, wait, that was... He drifted off abruptly as his eye sockets briefly went dark. He passed so quickly that if Sirius hadn't gone better at reading the skeleton, he would have thought he was seeing things. There was a weird gap. What happened? Technically, there wasn't actually a gap. Resets. And all the not time that Sirius had known him, it was rare for Sans to have such a long, lost, tired expression. He usually got that look from when Frisk, whoever that was, inadvertently crept off into their conversation. Explain. No, explain! I don't really explain. You listen to me ramble about Azkaban and my problems. Whatever this is, it really bothers you. Explain. I'm fine, really. Gee, you remind me of Pap sometimes, a bit more serious, though. Don't deflect. Answer the question. Don't worry about it, it's in the past. Sirius said nothing, but he raised an eyebrow and a distinct that we both know that's bullshit gesture and sense of, how long are you gonna look at me like that? As long as I need to. Fine, but I'm warning you, it's a long story. We have nothing but time, Sans. Get talking. There was a flower. It wasn't how the wizard had expected to begin. I thought the wizard would just flop down on the ground like, what? But he didn't remark on it. Flowey had this skill. Flowey's the name of the flower, obviously. That had let him reset the timeline, pull everything back, undo everything, do different things. I was the only one who remembered and nobody else that you've ever even noticed. He reset a lot, did a lot of stuff. Technically only the last of those resets actually happened, but sometimes I forget that it feels longer. Sirius was stunned. More than just stunned, but he couldn't come up with a better word. Something like resets, completely wiping out and rewriting events and possibly changing everything, was impossible, even with magic. Just trying to think of the repercussions of living through something like that left the wizard reeling. When the skeleton fell quiet, Sirius prompted, "So the reset thing stopped eventually?" Yeah, the flower stopped resetting. The flower stopped, so there were still resets. Well? Yes, look, can we just... No, you need to get this off the chest, and by Merlin's beard, your damn well go. They died. Everyone in the underground, more times than I care to count. Eventually, he hesitated to reach out in hand. Eventually, Sirius hesitated and reach out in hand in an attempt to do something, anything to help his friend. Letting his hand drop, Sirius chose to instead scooch around so they were sitting back to back. When Sans began speaking again, it was like he couldn't stop himself, didn't want to. The flower murder freak thing, apparently named Flowey, had over the course of who knows how many resets. Okay. Managed to kill pretty much everyone in the underground several times in various ways. Some resets would be only a single monster killed, or just a couple. Others would seem getting close to killing everyone in one go. He tried to kill Sans a few times, but quickly learning that messing with a short skeleton was pretty much a guaranteed death. Sirius wanted to know more about that, but restrained himself when he saw Sans was more in the past than the present at the moment. Even though he was finally telling him some of his history, he was still being frustratingly vague. And eventually, Sans wasn't sure how the flower had lost its power over the timeline. Fortunately, that wasn't even close to being the end. If anything, it was just the beginning. Sans told Sirius about Frisk, the last fallen human. The last soul the monsters would need to break the barrier belonged to an adorable little child only slightly shorter than Sans himself. Yet, despite the antagonism they faced, the child had gone through the entire underground without killing anyone. Even when Frisk faced the king, they still chose mercy. After that, there was something the skeleton didn't seem too keen on explaining. Too hard to sum up, he claimed. Suffice to say, there was a fight of some sort, and then with the barrier shattered. Freedom, it was more than he had ever dreamed. That it got old fast. What's the point if it just resets in the end? What's a few days on the surface and nobody else even remembers? First had moved into a compartment with Toriel. Pretty much all their closest monster friends set up in the same building. Sans saw them every day, and after watching through, he basically took them under his metaphorical wing as another younger sibling. See, friends doesn't exist, guys. In this story, at least. Oh no. I don't ship it, sorry. Everything was beginning to look up at long last, even if no one else knew just how really long it was. And then it all just reset. He hadn't even known how that could still happen. Only a few months after escaping, he just woke back up in Snowden. The only explanation being a reset. Only until he saw the kiddo again, then he realized it was them. They had caused the reset. Though something in our eyes told him it wasn't necessarily Frisk who had done it. It was, though. Frisk did it. Sirius got the impression that the something wasn't just part of the expression. Frisk worked towards the same happy ending so many times, like some kind of script, but it was always reset within a year after reaching the surface. Every time. After I realized that, getting to the surface didn't really appeal anymore. Stars, even now I still follow scripts sometimes. It didn't last. The repetitive looping of the same story, I mean, at least I was peaceful, not like after. When the kiddo accidentally hurt one of the monsters they met, that's when the other started to. The other started to do this after one of the monsters were hurt, and therefore Frisk actions. Got it. Sorry, Sirius. Didn't mean to pop out on you like that. I just don't think. No, I understand. Sometimes it takes a while to be able. Wait, Blacko! He tried to scramble to his feet, but failed the first few attempts, flailing around on the sort of ground until he pulled at his lips to writing. And this time he sent Sans was pure and blatant shock. You can teleport? Yeah. His mouth opened and closed a few times, trying to figure out what to say in response, but coming up with a resounding zero. Before he discovered that I wasn't completely alone in the void, Sirius attempted to cast a variety of spells in an effort to entertain himself. None of them worked. He whipped out his wand again, holding with purpose, and spun sharply on his heel. Nothing happened, well, except for perhaps confusing Sans, who after a moment's thought commented, "Nice of you to put a good spin on things." Well, there goes that idea. I can't apparate. Am I supposed to know what that is, or apparating is a form of magical transportation where you disappear from one place and reappear to another. Nito, do you always do that spin thing? Not always, but it helps, and that's beside the point because you can teleport. Why are you even still here? Hold on. I want to see if my friend wants to read a single line from Sans. Then I'm gonna laugh at them. And I want to know if they'll join. Okay, fine, they won't. Sans shrugged with nonchalance that didn't quite ring true. I'm still here because leaving the world would force my universe back into a timeline reset loop, obviously. Am I going to need to harass you into explaining further? Well? Fine, no need to get your pants into a twist. You mentioned how I got here, right? Something about following a kid in the murderer or something. Close enough. Not going to go into much detail, but the murderer was possessing the kiddo. Yes, I'm talking about Frisk. The murderer, Kara, was forcing them to reset. I followed them here, trapped the murderer, and sent the kiddo back. Made it so nobody could reset. Serious adventure, destination, determination, deliberation. Those are the 3 base steps for operation. After you destroyed whatever made that reset possible, that must have changed something else as well, right? In your terms, I messed with the destination. Everywhere or everyone I can teleport to would be when resets were possible. But you technically could teleport out of here, right? As far as I know, yeah. Can you teleport with other people? Sure. Look, we can't get out of here that way. It's not worth it. This could work. This could actually work. What could work? What if you don't teleport back? What? What if I provide the destination instead? Allow me to rephrase. What? You provide the means, but I provide the destination, and we teleport to my world. Sounds like a crazy madman. Okay, hold on. I want to see if they're gonna join. Then I'm gonna make them read. Okay, I gave you a script right now, okay?
Okay.
Now, you do the ones in the quotations. Are you gonna do them?
Oh, right. Okay, hold on. I gotta mentally prepare myself. Word, 2 lines.
Okay, now go.
What?
What if I provide the destination instead?
To be rephrase. This word.
I didn't hear you.
Rip. Hold up. Microphone, please. Ain't gonna work. Microphone.
Okay, just read.
Okay, I'm gonna do it again because my mic was being a cuck.
Okay. Okay, we're on a different region. Now go.
Fuck. What just happened?
We are on a different region. Now go. Are you gonna read?
Did.
No, you're supposed to read the 3rd part.
Rip. To rephrase.
You didn't say what.
I did. Duh.
Just do it again. Just say what now.
What?
You provide the means, but I provide the destination. We teleport to my world. Okay, so you read Sans' lines. I read Sirius Black's.
Oh.
Now I'm gonna laugh at you because Sans is a girl.
Sans has tits.
What a great story.
I didn't know that was Sans.